The Golic name is synonymous with Notre Dame. Bob and Mike became stars here and beyond. And while Mike Golic Jr. has certainly followed in his famous dad's footsteps, he's also forging his own path with his own distinct flair. For Mike Golic Jr., Notre Dame was a natural fit.
For me, it was always built into the idea of family and seeing what it had done for the people in my family. My mom and dad met here. It made them the people that they were. But then even separately from that, it's every time I was on campus, you just felt that difference. Something felt right every time.
His dad, Mike Golic Sr., and both of his uncles played football at Notre Dame. And his mom, Chris, graduated from St. Mary's College. Jr. played center on the undefeated 2012 Irish team that faced Alabama in the BCS National Championship game.
He could have been in your shadow, or it could have been intimidating, or but it seems like he's just very naturally made his progression through all of it.
The shadow, he knows nothing about that. He's out front.
After Mike Sr.'s 8-year NFL career came to an end, he made a name for himself at ESPN.
What do you remember or maybe cherish most about, being just a little kid and tossing a football around with your dad in the backyard?
I think just that was a space where we were normal. It didn't matter what his job was. It didn't matter how often he was on TV. The question I always get is, what's it like to see your dad on TV? And I always say, I don't know what it's not like. That's normal for me.
Junior grew up tagging along with Dad, from sidelines to studios. So when his own football career came to an end, broadcasting was once again a natural fit. Now, father and son work alongside each other every day on ESPN's Golic and Wingo radio show.
I figure that's kind of my job, is to come in there and stir the pot. You've got him and Trey that are both 50-something-year-old guys, and I storm over there for my little morning show as the millennial on set. And someone else coming into this new for the first time might say, well, there's Mike Golic. He was a part of Mike and Mike for 2 decades. He's a really established, he's a broadcasting Hall of Famer. How am I going to come in and check him? I'm like, that's just Dad. I will come in and check him every day.
And Dad is enjoying every minute of it.
I thought, wow, to get to work with your kid. I said that doesn't fall into your lap too often. But overall, it's really kind of rejuvenated me to say, I want to do this for a little while longer.
And we are lucky enough to be joined now live with Mike Golic Jr. We've been trying to get you on the show now for a couple of years, so I'm really excited to have you finally on stage with me.
Yes, I finally got called up to the show. This is very exciting. Thank you for having me.
Now, we were watching the story while it was airing, and he jokes. He says, well, I'm the only one that knows how to even use the selfie stick, so it's important to have him around.
Yeah, exactly. I figured there are a lot of things. My dad forgets his Netflix password a lot. He can't get logged into his iPad. And so if I'm not around there, someone else in the studio's got to deal with him, and he can get a little prickly at times, and I'm used to that. I've got 30 years of practice, so I put it to good work.
Well, I like also in the story you said, I check him. So other people are scared to check him, but I'm not. I'll check him every day.
Exactly. Well, I was going to say, I've gotten in trouble for, missing curfew and, the important stuff. So doing something at work, a segment going along or anything like that, where our producers might freak out. I go, guys, I've seen way worse than this. I got this. We're fine.
Well, of course, your time here at Notre Dame, now you're doing the show with your dad, the Golic and Wingo show. What else are you doing? I know you've got your feet on a little bit of everything right now.
Yeah, and that's been the fun part is I've been really fortunate, and ESPN's let me kind of get my hand in a lot of pies, and so I've been doing and calling college football games for the last few years. I've been working a lot with our digital properties. We do a lot of shows that are on Twitter, on Twitch, on YouTube, on the ESPN app for us, and getting to be a part of all that, especially in the college football world, I think was exciting for me just because this is something that's so familiar. It's something that I'm so passionate about, and so to get to go, and people always say, well, you're always moving around, you're always busy during football season. That's the way I want it, to get to go and experience atmospheres all over the country, and then to get to come back home and experience the best one here is a really cool experience.
Being able to do that, does it kind of scratch that itch a little bit of football? Your playing days are over, but you kind of get to still be a part of it?
Yeah, I think that's the thing I said, especially about calling games, is it's the most like preparing to play in a game, meaning you spend all week watching film of these two teams, trying to figure out strengths and weaknesses. You get to talk to the coaches and players and get all that inside information that you miss in being part of a locker room, and then there really is nothing quite like a live event, and getting to be around that energy and the atmosphere of a game. And so now to get to do that as someone who also doesn't have to go out there and get hit anymore is a pretty cool deal.
Well, of course, you know, switching gears a little bit and now making you put on that hat and be the analyst, the expert here. Looking at this Notre Dame football team and the offensive line, you're a man with some experience. What is it that you like about the O-line, and maybe what do they need to work on?
Yeah, what I really like is I think how Jarrett Patterson's come along. You have a center who's coming in who's a new man in a very veteran group and went through some of those growing pains early on, but is playing really good football in an important position. I'd say him and Robert Hainsey. Robert Hainsey's playing some of the best ball of his career right now at right tackle. He's a great kid, Eastern PA kid, so you know football is really in the blood out in that area. And just to me, he's a guy that it matters a lot to, and you can see that in the way he plays. So it just ironing out consistency. We saw the penalties were the real thing that snake bit them against Georgia. Otherwise, that's a very even matchup, but in those road environments, every little bit matters. And when you're giving away yards before the snap even goes, I know that's something those guys have been focusing a lot on to correct, and they're more than up to the task of ironing that out and continuing to play great ball.
And also, looking at the offense, Notre Dame is finally utilizing the tight end again. They kind of had gotten away from that for a while, but Chip Long is back, and he's got those guys like Cole Kmet and just getting them back involved. And how important is that for Notre Dame's offense to have that extra weapon?
Well, I think it's huge. I mean, we've been so fortunate just to have such an unbelievable wealth of talent at that position for so long. You know, I came here, and Kyle Rudolph was our tight end. You go from him to Tyler Eifert, what you had with Troy Nicholas, on and on through the list. And now to add Cole to that, who's going to be a very highly drafted NFL prospect there. But then how about Tommy Tremble coming in here? Young kid, really athletic, is working well in that passing game. But all these Notre Dame tight ends, what I enjoy most about them is, yes, they're great middle of the field threats, and that's going to be huge today against a fast flow USC defense in the middle. But they also work really hard in the run game. And for a young guy like Tommy to come in and show and put on tape that that's something that he's really been trying hard with. As a former offensive lineman, that resonates with that group, and it helps those guys really buy into you. But it gives Chip Long a lot of options because you don't have to take him off the field in any situation, and so the defense has no idea what's coming.
I know you're still really good friends with some of those guys you just rattled off, tight ends, Kyle Rudolph, Tyler Eifert. How much do you keep in touch with all of them?
A lot. We're really fortunate. We had a really close group when I was here. You know, Kyle's up in Minnesota. He's got 2 twin daughters and a new son. One of his daughters is my goddaughter. So getting to kind of see the family as we all go out into the world and do our own things, and whether that's in football or beyond, has been nice. You know, you're standing up in weddings. Braxton Cave, the local legend around here, got to meet his son for the first time, got a 7-week-old baby boy right now. And I think that idea is what I always tell people is you spend more time with the guys you're playing with in 4 or 5 years than you see your own family. And so that's what everyone becomes. You know, I did Thanksgiving for 4 years with Braxton's family around here. I'd be going on trips and going back to Cincinnati to see Kyle's folks, and getting to keep that bond as we go and grow into adults it's been fun to watch. Like, I get to watch my friends become parents is like the coolest thing in the world.
Well, awesome. Thank you. I mean, you can tell this guy's a natural, right? You come by it naturally. Thank you for joining us. Really quick, give us a score prediction.
I had 31-17 tomorrow. I think they keep it close for a little bit, but this team is good and this team is confident, and I think they're going to show that in the second half and pull away in this one.
Awesome. Mike Golic Jr., thank you so much for joining us.